The word illegal in the title needs honest context before we go any further, because most of what our grandparents did in their gardens wasn't illegal at all. It was simply made commercially inconvenient, quietly discouraged, and gradually replaced by purchased alternatives that served an industry rather than a garden. Welcome to Hydrohaven. What follows is 25 practical techniques pulled directly from the agricultural memory of the generation that grew food before the chemical industry told them they were doing it wrong. Some of these run against local ordinances in specific jurisdictions. Some were actively suppressed by commercial lobbying, and some were simply forgotten because the people who practiced them didn't write gardening books. They just fed their families every year without buying much of anything from anyone. Before I continue, something I want to be honest about. I rescue injured dogs, animals that come to me with nowhere else to go. Strays, damaged animals, creatures that would die without someone stepping in. This channel has no monetization right now, and those animals still need food and care every single day. The PayPal email is in the description. If anything here helps you grow better food or save money on garden inputs, please consider sending something small. It reaches the animals directly. Thank you to everyone who already has. Seed saving is where this list begins, because it represents the most fundamental act of agricultural independence that exists, and its quiet suppression through F1 hybrid seed dominance is one of the most consequential things that happened to home food gardening in the 20th century. Your grandmother saved seeds the way people save recipes. She let a few pole bean plants go to the end of summer, pulled the dried pods from the windowsill in spring, and had free beans adapted specifically to her soil and her climate. Those seeds got better every year because they were being selected season after season by the specific conditions of her specific garden. F1 hybrid seeds changed that equation deliberately. Seeds that don't breed true the following year, forcing annual repurchase, are not an agricultural accident. They are a business model. The Heritage Seed Library and its equivalents exist specifically to preserve the open-pollinated varieties that make seed saving possible, because those varieties are commercially inconvenient and therefore receive almost no promotion from the industry that now controls most of what gardeners plant. Saving seed costs nothing. It saves approximately $5 per packet at minimum, multiplied by every variety you grow, compounding over every season you garden. And the seeds you save from your best-performing plants are progressively better adapted to your conditions than anything a catalogue can provide. Deep root watering, vinegar weed control, biochar from clean wood ash, urine as liquid fertilizer, weed tea, Comfrey liquid feed, no-dig management, newspaper mulch, and the board germination trick are the techniques that most directly replace purchased inputs with free alternatives, and each one has been either commercially suppressed or simply allowed to disappear from mainstream gardening advice. Deep root watering, burying a perforated pipe or bottle next to plant roots so water delivers directly to the root zone, saves up to 70% of daily irrigation water compared to surface application, prevents the fungal pressure that constant surface moisture creates, and forces root systems to develop the deep structure that makes plants genuinely drought-resistant. The irrigation industry sells complex surface systems. Burying a bottle with holes costs nothing. Vinegar weed control using high-concentration acetic acid was confirmed effective by USDA Agricultural Research Service scientists at Beltsville. The key detail that most casual descriptions omit is concentration. Standard household vinegar at 5% acidity works on young weeds in full sun. For established weeds, concentrations of 10 to 20% are needed, and it must be applied precisely because high acidity vinegar kills whatever it contacts, crop or weed alike. Used correctly on paths and hardscape, it eliminates the need for commercial herbicides entirely. Urine diluted 10 to 1. In water is a complete nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium fertilizer that the human body produces continuously at zero cost. Modern science has confirmed what traditional farmers practiced across every culture in history. Fresh urine applied correctly to the root zone of plants delivers immediately available nutrients equivalent to many commercial fertilizers. The concerns that caused it to fall from use were primarily urban sanitation issues rather than agricultural effectiveness. In a garden context, applied at the root zone in early morning or late afternoon, it is genuinely effective and genuinely free. Weed tea. Weeds soaked in a barrel of water for several weeks until the nutrients they contain have fully dissolved into the liquid, produces a nitrogen-rich fertilizer that Coventry University research confirmed provides nutrient levels equivalent to commercial brands. The smell is significant. The results are real. Comfrey liquid feed, made by soaking comfrey leaves in water until they break down into a dark, pungent concentrate, delivers potassium to fruiting crops at levels the Royal Horticultural Society has confirmed effective. The plant pulls minerals from deep soil layers that other plants can't reach. Once established, a comfrey planting produces unlimited free fertilizer for the life of the garden. The no-dig method, the board germination trick, newspaper mulch between rows, egg carton seed starting, coffee grounds for soil improvement, cinnamon and honey for cutting propagation, aloe vera gel as a rooting hormone substitute, aspirin dissolved in water as a plant immune system activator, Epsom salt for magnesium supplementation, turmeric powder around plant bases for fungal suppression, pine needle mulch for weed suppression and soil acidification, and slanted-sided containers for root ball preservation at transplanting. Every one of these techniques was practiced by home gardeners before the commercial gardening supply industry created products to replace them. The products are not better. They are packaged. The multi-sowing technique, placing 3 to 5 seeds in a single cell rather than one, challenges the industrial spacing assumption that exists primarily to sell more trays, more potting mix, and more greenhouse space. Plants in nature don't grow individually spaced by the instructions on a packet. Root vegetables, like beets, radishes, and onions, grown in clusters of 3 to 5 per cell, produce harvests equivalent to or exceeding individually spaced plants while occupying a fraction of the growing infrastructure. Rainwater sowing, planting seeds immediately before rainfall in climates with reliable seasonal rain patterns, uses natural water with its slightly acidic pH and trace nitrogen from lightning to give seeds the most natural possible start. It requires accurate weather awareness and appropriate soil preparation, but eliminates irrigation entirely through the establishment phase when water is most critical. The wood chip path cycle, laying free wood chips from local tree services on garden paths, allowing them to decompose for 1 to 2 years, and then shoveling the finished mulch onto garden beds while replacing the path layer with fresh chips, creates a continuous, free organic matter input that costs nothing beyond the labor of collection and movement. The path is simultaneously a path, a fertility reserve, and a composting system that runs itself. The 25 techniques together form a complete gardening system that requires almost no purchased inputs. The commercial gardening industry's product range exists precisely because this knowledge was allowed to fade from mainstream practice over the 70 years following the post-war expansion of the chemical agriculture model. The gardener who reclaims this knowledge reclaims something more than a set of techniques. They reclaim the independence that their grandparents never considered extraordinary because they had never been convinced to abandon it. Subscribe to Hydrohaven for the practical recovered knowledge that builds independent food systems. See you in the next one.